shattering all your dreams. Eyes wide open now, truth you can't disavow. Echoes through the halls, crashing all your walls. Truth seekers exposing the truth. Truth seekers coming for you. Uncover the lies, open your eyes. Shadows try to hide, no place for them to bide. Light will pierce you through, reveal what is true. Running from your fears, can't escape the sears. Truth will hunt you down, tear apart your crown. Truth seekers exposing the truth. Truth seekers coming for you. Uncover the lies, open your eyes. Eyes wide open now, truth you can't disavow. Echoes through the halls, crashing all your walls. Truth seekers exposing the truth. Truth seekers coming for you. Uncover the lies, open your eyes.
Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about this UAP hearing and the fact that the fake Pentagon UFO program director made that whole hearing into a clown show by showing lawmakers a completely and totally fake photo of a UFO that he didn't spend 5 minutes checking on before entering into the record like the clown that he is. And just a review for anybody that isn't aware, Lue Elizondo is an opportunist grifter scumbag who first rose to national prominence by claiming that he ran a $22 million funded UFO program while working at the Pentagon. And, you know, it's really taken years to peel back the layers of deception that he used to create his entire fake backstory. The truth is, Lue Elizondo never ran a Pentagon UFO program. Full stop. And he had no assigned responsibilities at the Pentagon. Full stop. So where does he get this idea that he ran a sensitive Pentagon UFO program? Well, the truth is that he made it up. He lied about it. Essentially, while Lue Elizondo was working at the Pentagon, he had a hobby of UFOs, and he used government time, resources, computers to pursue his hobby at the expense, of course, of the taxpayers. But don't worry, he isn't done wasting taxpayer money, because these hearings are a complete and total waste of all taxpayer money, time, and resources. They literally have career-long UFO grifters that are testifying and wasting these Congress people's time. We're going to get into some of the hearing, but of course the highlight of the hearing is Lue Elizondo holding up a completely and totally fake picture of a UFO. And he even claimed that he talked to the pilot that took the photo. There's only one problem. The photo was not taken by a pilot. It was 100% not taken by a pilot. So how is he talking to the pilot? Is this kind of like when he talked to the pilots that saw the alien mothership that was a goddamn chandelier? Like, this is the clown show that we're at. And you more conspiracy-minded people may have realized that the best way to discredit this subject is to send a clown like Lue Elizondo or Dave Grusch, remember him, Dave Grusch no-showed recently. And this will be the third time that David Grusch, you remember him, the guy who claimed interdimensional space monsters were murdering humans on Earth. I think that's kind of an important thing, and you better drop all the evidence of that so we can save people from being murdered by interdimensional space monsters. But it's been a very, very long time since David Grusch came out. And remember, David Grusch was groomed by Lue Elizondo. So it's interesting that they Dave Grusch is a no-show 3 times now. And we're at a momentous occasion today, friends, because David Grusch first came out with his fantastic stories of interdimensional space monsters on June 5th, 2023. That means it's been 700 days since David Grusch made his initial claims. And I remember cautioning people. We did a whole series on Dave Grusch and the red flags that were there and why people shouldn't get too excited about this guy saying the same things that so many other people have been saying, which is, the government is in possession of alien spacecraft and there's UFO crash retrievals, they recovered bodies. This is age-old UFO mythology from the 70s forward. But there's no evidence. And Dave Grusch, so far, has had 700 days to provide the evidence of the interdimensional space monsters on Earth murdering humans. And he's no-showed several times. He has no-showed several times. I want to take a moment to thank you, kind and generous benefactors. We had quite a good weekend of support. I decided to rebroadcast all of the David Wilcock scams that we have covered. Well, not all of them, but most of them. And I realize that people want to be recognized when they throw a super chat in, even if it's a replay. So I want to take a moment to thank Matthew A., who says, I'll assume you're aware of the latest Elizondo news with a super chat. Yeah, and we're here for it tonight. Thank you, Matthew A. Double Tap Ranger Outdoors, is he still laying in his own pee? Yes, but thank you for the super chat. Ames32 says that's actually the Battle of Thermopyle. I'm not sure what that, Thermopyle, I'm not sure what that means, but thank you, Ames. And another one from Ames, polar cap shifts happen. He is full of it. Stevie D with a super sticker. Mr. Cleric with a kind and generous 20. Doing the Lord's work, came from the casino, stayed for the truth. Thank you for your kindness. And Stevie D8369 with a super sticker. We've got Eve Ball. Wilcock's ego is off the charts in tonight's show. Yeah, I'm aware, and we'll be covering that this week. We've got Ugg. That guy looks disfigured, he says about Wilcock. Yeah. DJ D's, Stephen, keep bringing the truth about these fraudsters. May the 4th be with you. Happy 4th. Yeah. Star Wars is a big deal for me. Growing up with Star Wars, love Star Wars and Star Trek, actually. Detective Bloor says, suffer grifters and moth love detracting with a super chat says, did David Wilcock ever find the treasure trove of dildos? I'm trying to keep up with my Steve lore. No, he has not ever found the big, huge box of dildos, but we'll be doing a reveal on that in the end of this month, I believe. Detective now, and I also want to thank Robert P., I believe, gifted some Truth Seekers memberships, but they don't show up in my feed. I'm aware of that. Thank you, Robert P., for your kindness, generosity, and support. Much, much appreciated. Robert P. keeps contributing these gifted memberships, which is why you should hit that subscribe button, because when a kind and generous soul like Robert P. or anybody gifts these Truth Seekers memberships, you can win one, but you must be a subscriber. Detective Bloor is here with one for the goal, saying, suffer, grifters. Yes, thank you. Moth loves detracting. Did David Wilcock ever find the treasure troves of dildos? I'm trying to keep up with my Steve lore. Oh, I just saw that on the list. I apologize. I didn't know that was from today. I thought it was from our weekend of rebroadcasts, but thank you. I knew a crackhead who would shout, beam me up, Scotty. All right, so we're going to get into the goodies. First, we'll get into the goodies of Lue Elizondo looking like a clown. And before we do that though, for those unaware, he already got caught recently lying through his teeth, saying that he was showing people. Let's take a moment to review. So Lue Elizondo lies to the New York Times about running a Pentagon UFO program. Then him and his buddies basically steal unclassified videos out of the Pentagon and claim there's something alien. They've pretty much all three of those videos have been debunked as nothing extraordinary like they originally claimed. So Lue Elizondo and his scammy buddies, UFO buddies like Hal Puthoff and Tom DeLonge, they start this organization called To the Stars Academy. And then they scam the public. I'm going to say it like that. Allegedly scam the public out of something like $1.5 million, promising they're going to create a spaceship with a revolutionary power source that will change the world, and promising that they have in their possession possibly alien material from UAP crash retrievals, and they're going to do all the science and analysis, and then they're going to release all those results. They've never released the results. And by the way, what was in their possession, we later found out, was a piece of a missile casing from the 1950s. It wasn't an alien. It wasn't from a UAP crash or a UFO crash. So in other words, Lue Elizondo and his buddies scammed everybody, claiming they had pieces of an alien spacecraft or maybe pieces of an alien spacecraft. That was a complete and total scam. To the Stars Academy has been described as a techno scam. They took advantage of the public, claiming all this shit about aliens. They collected $1.5 million. What happened to all that money, Lue Elizondo? But don't worry, Lue Elizondo wasn't done scamming people. Then he writes a book claiming that he has psychic superpowers and he turned into an angel and shook a terrorist's bed, and he was like the torture czar at Guantanamo Bay somehow. Oh, it's great. It's a great book. You could get on Amazon. You could buy that book, but not from me. I don't sell books full of bullshit. So then he does this live speaking tour where he's scamming the public, claiming that he's showing them pictures of an alien mothership. And he knows it's an alien mothership because he talked to the pilots who took the picture of the alien mothership in the sky. Turns out that was a completely and totally fake picture of a UFO. It was never in the sky. Therefore, Lue Elizondo could never have spoken to pilots. Are we seeing a pattern here? He has repeatedly made claims about documents he shows people, which are incredibly, really fake claims. But let's take a look at him lying through his teeth, claiming he talked to the pilots that took a picture of this mothership.
Unimaginably seemed impossible. They described it as literally the mothership, looking like the mothership from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Now, if any of you ever seen that movie, remember the very end, this huge mini city floating in the sky and turns upside down. Listen, guess what we caught in Romania in 2022? By the way, the U.S. Embassy. Now, behind the scenes. Behind the scenes. As literally the mothership. The mothership. The mothership. That whistleblowers. Behind the scenes. That whistleblowers.
So Elizondo claimed that the picture was taken at the U.S. Embassy in Romania. Turns out that was fake. It was taken from a private apartment building. And the picture is actually something called the Pepper's Ghost. It's a reflection in glass of a chandelier. There is no mothership. Lue Elizondo took money from people at paid speaking engagements, and then he showed them fake shit because he's a scumbag and a liar and a grifter. So this latest debacle is just the latest. The L's keep coming. The L's keep coming. So first I'm going to share my screen and cite fair use. I've continually said it. People ask me, well, who's trustworthy? There's only a few people that are trustworthy covering UFOs. And the only mainstream reporter that are covering UFOs correctly and revealing all the scams and grifts and, less than credible people promoting all this shit is Stephen Greenstreet of the New York Post. I'm going to share my screen here because this is very interesting to me. You've got a guy that's a high-ranking intelligence officer who claims he has all this evidence of aliens visiting Earth, and yet he no-shows. Congress was scheduled to have a top-secret briefing with UFO activists yesterday, but it was postponed after one of them, David Grusch, didn't show up. This is the third time Grusch has been a no-show to official invitations to spill the beans about the alien space monsters he claims are flying around Earth. In November 2023, Grusch was scheduled to have a briefing with AARO, the Pentagon's UFO office, but never showed up, leaving AARO officials waiting for him in a lobby. In October 2023, Grusch didn't show up for a classified briefing with Senator Kristen Gillibrand after she declined to pay for his travel expenses. Why does someone who claims to be a UFO whistleblower consistently avoid blowing any actual whistles? And perhaps more importantly, why does Congress continue to waste its taxpayer-funded time on these people? My New York Post report on Grusch and his connection to a wacky UFO religion that has spent the last 7 years completely bamboozling Congress is here. So, I get a little annoyed with the people that are so, pro-disclosure. Well, these are your heroes. They're cowards. If he had any evidence, he wouldn't have no-showed 3 times. He has no evidence of anything he claims other than another one of the inner circle group of these retards told him this shit. That's his evidence. Hal Puthoff told me that the government has aliens. Eric Davis told me the government has aliens. Another wackadoo, right? Just a total wackadoo. And Kofool says, all of this is a bait and switch psychological operation. Well, the best way to run a psyop to discredit something is to send in a bunch of grifter frauds so that you can laugh at, look at these grifters. They're just grifters. They're scammers. And they have all these wacky beliefs about ghosts and goblins and stuff. It is really something else, friends. So let me get the next piece that we'll be sharing. Just want to make sure that we put on record that Grusch will not show his evidence. Every time he gets an opportunity to show his evidence, even in a classified setting, he won't do it. What does that tell you? To me, that tells me they have no evidence. All right, so here are the people that were at this hearing. There's Lue Elizondo on the far left here, claims he used his psychic powers to turn into an angel. Then we have Tim Gallaudet, who claims alien spirits live in his house, and his psychic daughter talks to them. Then we have Eric Davis, who claims demons spoke to him inside his head, and his house was haunted by ghosts. We have Representative Tim Burchett of Tennessee, who believes the Bible is evidence of UFOs and that the literal devil is trying to stop UFO truth. Then we have Rep. Eric Burleson. He believes UFOs could be angels and messengers of God. And then, of course, we have Rep. Anna Paulina Luna, who believes UFOs are from another dimension and that there's a Christian religious connection. Just talk about a clown show. And then we add to this clown show the fact that Lue Elizondo is standing at a podium showing people a completely and totally fake picture of a UFO that was debunked in less than 5 minutes after he showed it on the internet. Like, this is your UFO expert? This is your Pentagon guy that ran the Pentagon UFO program? Oh, that's right. He didn't. He just made this shit, right? He just made that up. Troll. Stephen Bassett is just another disclosure grifter. Remember, he said disclosure is here. When Grusch came out with his stories, he's like, that's it. We did it. We've got disclosure. Except there's no evidence. And it is funny that other grifters like David Wilcock are using things that were said at this hearing as 100% confirmation. David Wilcock is even saying Congress has confirmed 4 alien races. No, somebody sitting in a congressional hearing that's not a member of Congress said some shit with no evidence and no proof. So, pardon me if I'm not impressed, right? Pardon me if I'm not at all impressed by somebody with no evidence making claims. We've all been here before, you know. Now let's get to the good part. And special thanks to Stephen Greenstreet, who made covering this super easy. We're just gonna borrow from his Twitter feed. UFO activists revealed a brand new UFO photo to Congress today. Yeah, brand new UFO photo. Wow, UFO photo. Except it's not a UFO. And Lue Elizondo is a fucking moron. There, I said it. That's your hero, your 3-foot tall dwarf that doesn't know the difference between an irrigation system on a farm and an alien spacecraft. And what about all the people that literally committed crimes? You know, there was a time where if you said anything like I'm saying tonight about Lue Elizondo, you got doxxed, threatened, intimidated, harassed. My wife got harassed. My children got threatened. They threatened my family, all for speaking out against dear leader, this cult cocksucker. Like, he is a cult leading cocksucker. There, I said it. You know, and he's a coward, former military man, sending deranged lunatic veterans like Rob Heatherly around to threaten people's wives because they said something mean about me on the internet. Go threaten that guy's children and his wife. And his wife, Rob Heatherly, go dox him. And Heatherly, of course, that lunatic, oh, I didn't dox Steve. I just published the street he lives on and his name. And if you put those two things into Google, then you'll get his address. But technically, I didn't dox him. And Lue Elizondo knows all about these harassment campaigns that his moronic cult-like followers have run in his name, right? And he's done nothing, right? It took him years to finally say, like, oh, I don't condone people being harassed. Yeah, after you're directing it. And I'm allowed. Allegedly, he directed people to be doxxed, harassed, threatened, intimidated. You know, what a pussy. He is a total pussy, this guy. He's also like 3 foot tall. Did you know that? Like, they had to get him a special podium so he could see over the top of it. You know, a special smaller podium than usual. Ha ha! Suffer, midget Elizondo. All right, so, and yes, I get it. Tonight is sort of low-hanging fruit. Like, let's just laugh at this clown. But I'm going to say this again. If you people that are big fans of UFOs want Congress to take UFOs seriously, then banish this dumb motherfucker from UFO land. Don't let him represent disclosure because he keeps getting caught with his pants down, running with completely and totally fake shit. He discredits all of this. This is the reason that people laugh at you UFO nutters, because of moments like this.
This is taken from a civilian pilot. It is authentic.
It didn't come from a civilian pilot. He just lied through his teeth right in front of Congress. Confirmed, 100%, this picture did not come from a civilian pilot.
Object, and when you look at the shadow being cast, it is significantly large. And the object potentially is anywhere between 600 to 1,000 feet in diameter.
Oh, really?
It's a lenticular object, and it is silver.
It is silver. Wow. Exciting, Lue Elizondo. The fact, and by the way, he's made an apology video about this whole situation, but he's blaming other people. You know, it's great. The spooky UFO. Normal irrigation circles. Oh no, Lue Elizondo. Did you just get caught promoting another fake photo of a UFO, you moron? Super genius of the millennium UFO expert. What a fucking moron this guy is. Oh man. Spooky UFO. Normal irrigation circles. Spooky UFO. It's a spooky UFO, everybody. It's a spooky UFO. Oh. Oh, Lue Elizondo, you moron. You know, what a moron this guy is. And, this, it wouldn't be so bad, but he just got caught with that other completely and totally fake picture of a UFO that he lied and said he talked to the pilots that took the picture. In this case, he lies again and says, "Oh, I talked to the pilot that took this picture." Well, we're going to see evidence and proof that he couldn't have because it was not taken by a pilot. And Charlie Weiser is on the case of that. Just excellent. Got debunked so quickly. And I love that even other grifters are coming out. One second. Okay, so we'll share that. Here we have this. This guy found the exact coordinates of a crop in the middle of Colorado only a few hours after it was shown. What are the odds? To me, it's obvious that he already had these coordinates, and Elizondo was the victim of an intelligence religious debunker group operation. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. There's conspiracy theories like, oh, he was the victim here, Lue Elizondo, right? Well, this is not a photo taken by a. It's not a photo taken by a pilot. That much is clear. In one moment here, I'm a little disorganized today. Okay. So Charlie Weiser posted a 30 seconds. That's how quickly you can debunk this in 30 seconds. God bless Charlie Weiser. Yeah, we'll share this one because this is just great, and it's proof that the photo was not taken by a pilot. So Lue Elizondo lied to everybody, claiming he spoke to the pilot. Add noise, rotate right, resize vertical. Oh, there it is. Oh, what a clown show. Is Lue Elizondo a liar or an idiot? Well, I kind of feel like Lue Elizondo is both a liar and an idiot. So there we have it. Like, it's pretty damning that he said he spoke to the pilot that took a picture of the video, right? I do not believe that he spoke to any pilot. But since we're already shitting on him for sharing fake shit, why is this guy an expert? Why is he an expert that is on news programs talking about UFOs? I don't understand how he's an expert. UFO Stephen Greenstreet writes, UFO activist Lue Elizondo went on CNN and hilariously got everything wrong. CNN, of course, did zero fact checking and just let him say wrong stuff. So he has a history of promoting bullshit.
You actually did share new declassified reports with our team, and they detail
new declassified reports that Lue had in his possession, and he shared them with CNN. Whoa, sounds juicy, right?
Detail intelligence on UFOs resembling something like a tic-tac going all the way back to 1947. You had a CIA report from 1953 says Swedish airline pilots encountered a silver or white flying lozenge traveling at high speed.
I think the fact that you have pilots separated by decades, if not generations, reporting the same type of observations, describing what is essence the same object, a 40-foot long, whether it's a white flying butane tank or a white flying tic-tac or a white flying lozenge. At the end of the day, they're describing the same thing.
This new declassified report was released in 1978. So Lue Elizondo saying, I got a new declassified report from the CIA, and here I'm breaking this news on CNN. Dude, the document was released in 1978. It wasn't a newly declassified document. He lied right there. And what was that? It was from a series of newspaper articles, the document. And what was the newspaper? These are 4 pages of news articles, ostensibly or basically about UFO sightings. And it was not written by the CIA. Oh, Lue Elizondo. The flying lozenge that he's talking about being proof of alien visitation on Earth, it was stated to be an advertising balloon. It was an advertising balloon. Object stated to be an advertising balloon, a perfume company's balloon. Mysterious flying lozenge, likely an advertising balloon for a perfume company. Perfume company put out a statement. With all certainty, it is one of our balloons. So he's promoting balloons. Great.
Years as well. So, I mean, what do you think of this pattern, the similar characteristics over time? What's your thought?
Well, first of all, thank you for doing your homework. I think a lot of media has been lazy about this topic.
A lot of media is lazy about this topic as they let him completely make up a completely and totally fake story on CNN that has nothing to do with real aliens or UFOs. Charles McDonald is here with one for the goal. Says no, he's at least 3'4". All right, we'll give him 3'4", but thank you for that, Charles McDonald. Archduke Instinct with 20 says relegated to the short bus as a kid and now relegated to the short podium as an adult grifter. Suffer, Lue Elizondo. Yes, absolutely. Complizaire with one for the goal. The small whites is a real lie. Liar Zondo. The small whites. Thank you, Complizaire. And Dr. Norscout with one for the goal says, I'm very spooked. Yeah, well, it was a spooky UFO, you know. It's not at all, you know, an irrigation thing. Yeah, great, folks. Stay tuned with your pocketbooks open. Yes, absolutely. So the L's just keep coming for Lue Elizondo. It's one of those things, right? It's funny too. People are making shirts that say Stephen Greenstreet was right about everything. And I think it's so funny that even other grifters are attacking Lue Elizondo. Even other grifters are like, "Yo, this is fucked up." He made a mockery of this hearing, right? Oh man, I wrote, it's pretty bad when a guy who helped Jaime Maussan scam the public with fake Roswell alien images and who also sells people superpowers with his Scientologist wife for $149 basically calls Lue Elizondo a grifter. Yeah, so Richard Dolan is even chiming in. Jesus, that's dude. When the guy who interviewed that fake CIA deathbed confession guy is saying that you're a scam artist, when a guy who's selling people superpowers with his wife for $149 says you're a scammer, oh, suffer, Lue Elizondo.
The consensus out there is that this is a standard irrigation. I mean, this has been mercilessly ridiculed and mocked online.
Yeah, with good reason. He stood in front of Congress and showed them a completely fake picture of a UFO.
And, you know, you really do have to acknowledge here. I mean, yes, Lue did state he cannot vouch for the veracity of the photograph. He didn't take it. This is not vetted. But you really have to think here. This is the second time that he has stepped into something.
By the way, this is all fair use. Everything we're sharing tonight.
About less than a year ago, with another photograph that was shown not to be an actual UFO. So, you really have to just recognize that this is a time for, you've got to be careful when you're putting evidence out there.
Yeah, especially when you're standing in front of Congress. Because now Congress can say, we're not going to have any more UFO or UAP hearings because the last one, somebody showed us fake shit. The last one, Lue Elizondo, showed us completely, totally fake pictures of UFOs or aliens, spaceships. So this is a waste of time. We're not going to waste our time with people that have fake evidence.
This was not vetted. It is questionable evidence. And clearly, the
It's not questionable evidence, Dolan. It's fake evidence. It's not evidence.
skeptics are going to jump all over it.
Yeah, we did jump all over it, and we solved the mystery in 4 minutes on the internet.
You've got Representatives Luna and Burleson. They're staking political capital on this briefing, which included very significant claims about, recovered non-terrestrial craft.
Yeah, the same old claims that we always hear. Was there evidence of these claims this time? Of course not, Dolan.
NORAD detection capabilities. We'll get to that. So this distraction, that's really what this looks like it could be, is very likely to overshadow.
No, Elizondo is a fucking clown, Dolan, and so are you and your wife with her fake superpowers, right?
Testimonies from other witnesses who are describing important encounters. Tim Gallaudet's one of them, the admiral. He describes some very well-documented Navy encounters.
But he provided no evidence, and he saw nothing himself while he was in the Navy. So who cares? And he thinks his daughter talks to dead people. You moron. Like, remember the chart that I showed you? Like, there's literally Eric Davis who says demons followed him home from Skinwalker Ranch. There's Tim Gallaudet who thinks his daughter speaks to dead people. She could talk to people's dead relatives and ghosts and goblins. And then we've got Lue Elizondo who claims he has remote viewing superpowers and he turned into an angel and shook the bed of a terrorist. These are the people you're going to send to get Congress to be more transparent about UFOs and aliens and what they know about it. Like, you couldn't send a worse group of grifters into Congress, but yet these are the best that the UFO community has to offer. People like this to convince Congress to spend more time and money chasing ghost alien spaceships in the night.
So I think, this mistake is going to create exactly the ammunition that skeptics want, which is instead...
It shows, it specifically is a wonderful example of taxpayer money being wasted on wackadoos. I don't want my government to waste taxpayer money on wackadoos with wacky claims but no evidence. Now, if somebody has evidence, I'm all for it. Have a congressional hearing. Let's look at the evidence. But when all you have is a bunch of wacky people telling wacky stories and showing totally fake evidence for their proof, that's a problem, Dolan.
Of where the focus should be, which is on the very substantial sensor data, multiple military witnesses, all the scientific analyses presented by other panelists. They're going to jump on this and dismiss the whole thing.
And well, they should, because everybody in that hearing is a fucking wackadoo with no evidence. Everybody in that hearing makes bold claims about alien space visitors, visiting Earth. And when pressed for evidence, this is what they show us: fake pictures of flying saucers.
The UAP disclosure movement cannot afford basic errors when you're fighting decades.
Oh, yeah, it's a decades-long cover-up. It is a cover-up, but the truth is, the cover-up is that almost everybody promoting UFOs and aliens, especially people that make it their full-time living, are wackadoos with no evidence, no proof, with wacky beliefs, cult-like mentality, us against them, the government's hiding the aliens. Lue Elizondo, aka Mr. Waterboarding at Guantanamo, Dolan Dis, Complizaire with 251. Thank you for that. Complizaire with another one says dumb scam, dumber too. Yeah, just another scammer. It's pretty bad when the scammers are going after him, right? Disclosure grifters do not want proof or disclosure. That would end their grifts. Yeah. Lue Elizondo's here. Shall I call my lawyers? Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, call your lawyers. Do we have a problem tonight? Oh, fake Lue Elizondo. The midget himself is in the live chat. Complizaire with another one. Dr. Eric Beavis and Lou Butthead. Yeah, this is just ridiculous. But I just thought it was funny that Richard Dolan, who's been caught in multiple UFO hoaxes and scams, is jumping in. God damn, that Lue Elizondo, he's ruining disclosure for the rest of us.
Of institutional resistance. I guess I'll just leave that there.
All right. All right, so we've gotten through that. Now, let me just check. I thought I had some other stuff to share, but maybe not. Maybe we're going to cover what I thought was the funniest part of this hearing, and that is Dr. Eric Davis. For those unaware, Dr. Eric Davis is the guy who thinks demons followed him home from Skinwalker Ranch. And, you know, he's one of those. I'm going to share this from Alex DeLarge, did a really nice write-up on this situation. And I think it's important to share when he hit on a lot of points that I would hit on, but he's already got them here. So 1 second. Let me share my screen. All right. So Alex DeLarge says, it's time for some critical thinking, folks. I've been following and rooting for Lue Elizondo ever since he went public in 2017. I did my due diligence and could see Lou's story was backed by Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid and Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense Chris Mellon. And the fact that the Pentagon actually had a UFO program that he was involved in sure backs the fact that this is all real. And then Lue told us he had lots of high-resolution close-up photos where you could see the occupants of the craft and videos from 12 feet from the cabin. Surely, with evidence this good, being told by someone this credible, the U.S. government really is all over this. Then people like Gary Nolan came out, doing blood work for the CIA for Kit Green. Not only is he on Fox News, but Lue Elizondo also backs him. And it gets better because this guy has the balls to just tell us flat out that they have recovered craft and hangars and bodies. Then a Harvard professor comes out. Avi Loeb sets up a group called Galileo to get UFO evidence. Wow. I then fall deeper into this rabbit hole and read all of Jacques Vallée's diaries, and I learn about the history of everyone from the Edgar Mitchell, Kit Green, and Hal Puthoff working for the CIA Stargate program, interested in UFOs and remote viewing. Colonel John Alexander joins them in the 80s, all interested in finding out where the government has the UFOs at, and formed the Secret Union UFO group, having classified meetings. Robert Bigelow, who is also interested, and after donating money to MUFON, decides to start his own group called NIDS, and hires all these people, including Eric Davis, to study all aspects of the UFO phenomenon. Still reading Vallée's diary, I learned that Harry Reid knew Bigelow, common for senators to know billionaires in their state, and Bigelow gets Reid interested in UFOs, secretly visiting the NIDS board meetings, where he convinces Reid that the government is hiding UFOs from him and crash retrievals and wants help finding out. So Harry Reid gets some money and starts his own UFO investigation to find the UFOs called OSAP, where we later learn Harry Reid still never got to see a UFO. Bigelow never got to see a UFO, and Colonel John Alexander writes in his book that he never got to see one. Everyone hits dead ends. Then, out of nowhere, this new guy comes out, David Grusch, and it's on again because this guy was super high up. He used to brief the president, and Congress got him to go hunting the UFOs for them. And then he found them, and he had 50 witnesses, and they all told Congress. Now, while all of this is all true, and it all happened, let's look at some real facts that we know from what these people have told us. Lue Elizondo said he saw a UFO, but turns out it was just a green orb in his house. He also told us he saw these high-res photos up close for years, which means he should be able to look at UFO photos and know if it's a match. The fact that he keeps passing off bad fakes means one of two things. One, he is a complete moron, or two, the evidence he had at ATIP is really of the same bad quality and not compelling at all. Avi Loeb's Galileo project is now years old and has no evidence still. Gary Nolan says he's turned down being a witness to a public hearing because he is not a first-hand witness. Even though he told us categorically they have bodies in craft, he hasn't seen it, and they have for himself either, like the rest of them, but just said it anyway. Not only this, but when Gary Nolan first came out and went on Jimmy Church Radio and told him he teamed up with a group of people, they were all on the outside and had no inside access to UFOs, and he wondered if by joining them he would mark himself to be permanently on the outside as well. Eric Davis, let's be honest, he's meant to be Lue Elizondo's mate, and first he 100% backs Lue in a video interview. Then more recently is bagging Lue on Facebook, saying he never worked at ATIP. And last week, he's mates with him again in a roundtable in Congress. He's also said he's not a first-hand witness. He just told David Grusch where to look to find the program, where it's located, and Grusch could figure it out from there. David Grusch has also said he's not a first-hand witness, and he was only shown documents and photos and told things. Remember, they were threatening David Grusch's life, apparently, so he made an IG complaint. So it's obvious if they were responding to him with death threats, they aren't going to bring him in and let him slap the roof of a UFO and poke a stick at the bodies. So the reality is this whole group of people are like us on the outside, also interested in UFOs and want to see the goods too. Then you see Doge and the programs they are deleting and how much money the government wastes on stupid ideas like transgender comic books from Muslims in other countries. If you really think about it, it's not hard to picture a group of scientists interested in UFOs using the government to fund them to investigate UFOs and try to find it, which is basically what happened. It seems like they were all denied access. So all they know is the same stories we all know. And now going public through Congress to try to get to the UFOs that way, since they couldn't do it on the inside. Let's be honest with ourselves. Why is Congress working with a bunch of UFO celebrities who don't have any firsthand knowledge and access? It's 2025 and they still don't have a single person with firsthand knowledge to these programs. They are building public hearings with people who physically have not seen it for themselves. If they have crafter bodies, just people who write books about UFOs and go on UFO podcasts. I think we gave these guys too much credit because of their job titles and positions in government, when really they are just like every other UFO enthusiast out there in UFO land. I don't believe now this upcoming public hearing will reveal anything. It's going to be the same stories we know, but set in a public hearing. This is going nowhere. If you really are true, you need to release evidence now. The conversation has gone on for too long without it, and the public are only going to remember you now as a Pentagon UFO guy who keeps handing out fake photos and will dismiss your message without any thought because of the fakes. Please, Lue, release some real evidence. This is where we're at now. Yeah, so a bunch of people with stories, but no evidence. And yeah, I think that'll do it for what I had to share. But we're going to get into I suppose we're going to get into the Eric Davis portion of the hearing. Just because I want to make it clear that the Air Force called Eric Davis research crackpot research and fake science. So, it's one of those things. Eric Davis is supposed to be, an insider, and he knows where the UFOs are being kept and all this stuff. Well, let's listen in on this hearing, because why, if he knows where the government is keeping the aliens and the UFOs and in some secret hangar somewhere, and he told Grusch where to find them and where to look, why can't he tell us, right? Why can't he tell us?
I'm an astrophysicist and also what we worked on at NASA and I call the breakthrough propulsion physicist. Worked at breakthrough propulsion together from 1996 to 2002, and then we continued after that to develop a book that we published through the AIAA Press in 2009. For terms of propulsion science. So my background is in advanced deep space and interstellar space flight, mostly faster light propulsion for the use of general relativity theory, quantum field theory, as well as advanced nuclear propulsion like
Sounds like a lot of bullshit so far.
nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. And the energy propulsion, which I worked on as a principal investigator for the Air Force Research Lab in Air Force Base. So I've got quite a broad background. And I began my work in UFOs or UAP starting in 1996. As director of aerospace physics and astrophysics at the National Institute for Discovery Science.
Yeah, so it's all one big group of UFO enthusiasts, and they all want money from the government. Eric Davis is one of the people who wasted $22 million in taxpayer-funded money chasing demons, dino beavers, shapeshifters at Skinwalker Ranch, poltergeists, demons, and even werewolves. This man is not a real serious academic scientist. He's a wackadoo.
And that was a pretty transformative job for me because as a physical scientist, I'm seeing for the first time my phenomenon.
Since getting this for Mother's Day, my family.
Hold on. One moment. The original feed had terrible audio, so somebody cleaned up the audio. Then they monetized a public hearing. Great. But they did fix the audio.
Using forensic field, reviewing witnesses, collecting data. And I have a team of colleagues on the staff that I work with, also PhDs. And we have a world-class science advisory board, which my former boss in Austin was on the board of was on that science advisory board. He was the last chairman of that board, actually. We also had Apollo 14 astronaut Ed Mitchell, and for a short time Apollo 17 astronaut Jack Schmidt, and we had many.
Yeah, Edgar Mitchell was kind of a UFO fan and convinced that aliens were visiting Earth.
Academicians and former CIA, national intelligence officers, social psychologists, medical doctors, and nuclear engineers, and the list goes on. We had chocolate primarily as well. So it was a really transformative because I grew up in the 60s and 70s, and I became familiar with Carl Sagan. Carl Sagan and Strong Report Page co-authored a book called UFOs, A Scientific Debate, which was published by the AAAS Press. The AAAS is the American Association for the Advancement of Science, and Science is their prestigious journal that they publish. And so that was a prestigious publication. Every chapter was authored by experts in the field in academia who have studied UFOs and some angle of it from scientific data.
Oh, boy. Maybe I should have just clipped the best bits here.
Standpoint. Data that was collected, data that was analyzed. And so they presented it and published the book. For a bizarre reason, in the 1980s, Carl Sagan had this wonderful astronomy show called Cosmos.
Didn't real physicists called Eric Davis dipshit scientist? Yes.
He changed 180 degrees. He all of a sudden went from being UFOs we have in this book that I co-authored or co-edited with Thornton Page. All of this wonderful data that's been collected that is not explainable due to conventional astronomical, weather, or man-made explanations or events or objects. I'm now calling it pseudoscience. It's fringe science. People were mistaken. Pilots have poor vision.
Yeah, Carl Sagan did sort of initially was a little interested, but then of course did a 180 when he began seeing all the fake evidence that the promoters of UFOs would show him.
Military pilots especially, and I've heard that from Leonard David, who's a aerospace engineering, aviation, space exploration writer, and people like him have said that our military pilots, especially the ones at the USS Nimitz, during its encounter of the Tic Tac UAP back in November 2004, Oh yes, those pilots have poor vision. They're flying with.
The problem is that these UFO nutters want to believe what they want to believe. But humans are humans and pilots are human. They misidentify things. They make mistakes just like every other person. Just because you're a pilot doesn't mean that you're immune from making a mistake. You see, ask any pilot that's got a lot of flight hours. You're going to see some weird stuff in the skies that you can't at first identify.
What, $20 million fighter aircraft? And they have poor vision. How did they get through the Naval Aviation Program and Top Gun School with poor vision?
Dr. Davis, could you elaborate a little bit on your, again, to the degree that you're comfortable?
Oh, I know. So it was a transformative issue for me, or a job. It transformed.
Yeah, and Lue Elizondo is like, well, the government definitely have aliens and UFOs and recovered crashed alien spacecraft because this guy said so. Well, if you're going to Congress and you're going to make these kind of bold statements, aren't you going to bring evidence of your claims? But Davis has offered no evidence.
For my worldview, it opened up my worldview to a lot more possibilities. And when I was used to thinking as a trained PhD physicist, I earned my doctorate in astrophysics at the University of Arizona in '99. And so I worked on 3 space missions in graduate school, the IMS, which is the Infrared Astronomical Satellite Program, and the 2 Voyager missions together. So as pertaining to the topic that Lou wants me to talk, I'm not trying to avoid it. It is a sensitive subject. It's due to astronaut Ed Mitchell, Dr. Ed Mitchell, Captain USN retired. Because of him, and I won't go into a long story, but it's because of him that I got on the trail of looking for the so-called legend within the UFO community. The retrieval of crashed or landed UAP craft, UFO craft, as they were known back in those days. And by the way, UAP, the term unidentified aerial phenomenon, goes back to the 1940s even.
Yeah, they rebranded. These current crop of UFO grifters, for whatever reason, decided to rebrand UFOs into UAP because I guess the UFOs had too much of a stigma and people laugh about it. It's the subject of jokes, you know. Oh, you saw a UFO, you're a whack job. They wanted a new term that would make it more, I guess, palatable to the public.
So
and get rid of the stigma.
I followed this trail, and I ended up over the course of the following 2.5 decades working for Bigelow, working for the Air Force Research Lab, working for Halfenoff at Urtech International Incorporated, and then working at the Aerospace Corporation. So we're working in a combination of industry and classified programs that we were contracted to do on behalf of for the Defense Intelligence Agency and for the Pentagon agencies that Lou worked at, and the UAP task force that Jay Stratton led.
Yeah, and what's the deal? Because not long ago, Eric Davis said Lue Elizondo never ran ATIP, and he never ran a UFO program. Now he's saying Lou did. Like, why the back and forth? Did they have like a grifter powwow and decide to not trash each other anymore?
At the Office of Naval Intelligence. And so a long story short is that I came into contact with industry leaders.
Why did people stop using single blade razors?
Well, big box companies just.
Pardon me. I really got to pay for the goddamn YouTube premium. Okay, 1 second.
Scientists, both active duty and later retired, as well as intelligence officers, generals, admirals, colonels, people who directed intelligence or human intelligence collection and analysis directorates at the DIA and the Central Intelligence Agency, who reached out.
And notice he's dropping a lot of 3-letter agency names as if this somehow makes his evidence-free story more credible because he knew some people at the DIA or the CIA or worked on some projects for them.
Up to me to have me do some foreign UAP intelligence analysis and assessment. And so I had been exposed to so much in the classified realm that I can tell you definitively that there is a there there. the human race, basically the world biggest governments, like the United States, our adversary China and Russia, at least as far as I know, have had the occasion to recover craft that have either landed or crashed or both in their territory or even outside of their territories, and have taken those back to the most sensitive of their programs that they've ever had.
Here's where I have a problem with Eric Davis, because there is a conflation of crash retrieval programs, which certainly our government, if something of unknown technological origin crashes, they pick it up. We have something called the Foreign Technology Division that we would take it to, especially if it was from an adversarial nation. But I think that these UFO nutters and promoters of UFO mythology or lore simply are mistaking regular earthly technological things that are recovered from crashes as something extraordinary or alien. Trolly Troll Troll is here. Says, I first met Jack Schmidt when he did a talk at my school. Well, that's interesting. What was he doing a talk at your school on? What's this guy's take on trolling? Yeah. Oh, I have the wrong fair use banner up, but could be considered a comedy. So Eric Davis is making some huge claims. We, Russians, and Chinese have all recovered UAP crashes.
These programs are even more sensitive and more well hidden than Manhattan Project was, or the modern nuclear weapons industry and the
yeah. And this is a UFO believer talking point. Oh, the UFO secrets are higher classification than the atom bomb or the nuclear secrets. That whole thing came from somebody named Wilbert Smith, who worked for the Canadian government. But he claimed that he was told by somebody. So now we have Eric Davis repeating third-hand information that somebody said, but the guy who said it also believed that he could communicate with Venus aliens telepathically from his yard. Right? A little bit of a problem. Everybody says that line. Oh, the UFO secrets, they're more highly classified than the nuclear secrets. Where did that come from? It came from Wilbert Smith, who was a complete and total fucking wackadoo out of Canada. He got fired from the Canadian government for being too wacky. People forget that when they use this talking point.
U.S. military and the Department of Energy programs to maintain and upgrade and modernize our nuclear weapons arsenal. And so this is one of the most well hidden programs. It is hidden from congressional oversight and always has been. And it was hidden by the action of President Eisenhower, who instituted presidential emergency action directives during his administration. These directives are not shared with Congress. They are classified. And when the Freedom of Information Act was instituted in the 70s, those are not subjected to the Freedom of Information Act.
Well, a lot of big claims here. Does he have any evidence? So this program exists and it's more highly secret than anything. It's held back from congressional. Well, then you know where they're keeping the aliens, right? Why doesn't he spill the beans?
Request. These directives provide cover for actions that are associated with the retrieval of these vehicles and the scientific and engineering study of them. And that takes place within the industry. What happens is the Department of Defense offices, CIA offices, they create shell companies. They give a sole source contract to the shell company who passes the money to a selected group of defense industry firms.
Shouldn't he have paperwork to prove this? If he found all this out, shouldn't he be able to show the shell corporations and the money's being transferred?
And those firms will take that contract money and turn them around and use that as internal funding, called internal research and development funds, which they give to their own people inside their company, their own employees, to do the reverse engineering and analysis and study of these recovered vehicles. And so this avoids all congressional oversight. It avoids the game bait. And it's one of the most clever techniques used to hide it. And as far as I know, only one 4-star general and one 3-star admiral were able to locate these programs. And that's about as much as I can say. They located the programs and they uncovered them. One got a lot of.
Okay, so secondhand information. Trust me, bro, this one general uncovered the program. And a 3-star admiral. He's talking about Thomas Wilson, who said that Eric Davis's stories are a, quote, work of fiction, unquote.
Resistance and hostile reception, and was told that he found who he was looking for. They were who they were suspected of being. Yes, they were a UFO, UAP, crash retrieval, and reverse engineering program. The other one had a lot more political power here because of his stature as a 4-star general. And he was able to get into the program and use his authority and his access.
Why isn't he naming these people? Because aren't they part of the cover-up then? Why don't we call those people before Congress and make them testify under oath about what they saw and what they experienced with these crash retrieval programs? Oh, he's not going to tell us the names of them. So this is a trust me, bro story.
I think they call that a.
Are you really?
Oh, one moment. I apologize. I really got to get this situation resolved. And please don't send me stupid comments. I'm just going to get YouTube Premium so I don't have to worry about this stuff anymore because people complain. And I can't mirror, for many reasons, I can't mirror videos that I share on my channel anymore due to false copyright claims.
Super user. The super user have access to all UAPs and all specialized access programs. So he had his capability into that whole thing. I was fortunate to meet Dave Grusch at the behest of Jay Stratton. Dave was a NRO liaison officer to the UAP task force, and Dave was working for his boss at the NRO, which was situated in the second floor skiffs of the Aerospace Corporation building, Colorado Springs. And I was assigned to work at the Aerospace Corporation facility in Huntsville, Alabama, because I was supporting NASA's Space Nuclear Propulsion Program office. So Jay put Dave and Dave's boss and I together, and I briefed them for 2.5 days, just a week before COVID struck. And Dave took all of my classified and proprietary information of all the investigations I did at NIDS, AFRO, and working for helping up at ERTEC, and he took that data and ran with it. And what you now know, the aftermath of that was his classified whistleblower complaint to the IG of the IC.
Yeah, and so this is where it gets like to be one big circle jerk. And you'll notice I wore the right shirt for today. I have a shirt on that says UFO circle jerkers. These guys just jerk each other off. It's one big circle jerk. So Eric Davis gave all of his evidence to Dave Grusch. Then why hasn't Dave Grusch presented any evidence whatsoever after 700 days? It's mind-boggling that this whole like mythology and lore can keep expanding and get more and more grandiose based on smoke and mirrors. They have no evidence.
And so there is a there. We have had this program going on in various guises, various code names. Code names change roughly every 3 years. They often shipped around to the major office and programmatic organizations for presidential administration, and maybe every 5 to 10 years in some cases. And so these things are very old. They come in, they've gone, but they're still around. And the amount of money that's been involved, I would say since the beginning in 1944 with the first recovery in Italy, of the U.S. Army's recovery of a craft that crashed in Italy back in 1930.
Okay, so now he's using a completely and totally debunked case. The Italy crash in 1933 was promoted by a hoax promoter, a known hoax promoter. That's where all the stuff about the recovery and the Vatican being involved, it came from William Brophy, who was also involved in the Trinity UFO crash hoax. Eric Davis is directly using a known, proven UFO crash hoax as his evidence. The story of a crash hoax is his evidence.
1943, the United States Army, when it invaded Italy and pushed the Third Reich out, they were able to recover that craft and bring it back to Wright Airfield. And all of the crash retrievals that have taken place generally on land have gone to Wright Airfield. The majority of the crash retrievals or recoveries of whatever situation it was take place in the maritime environment. And I'm not sure where that is going. I think they're probably also going to were in those days Wright Airfield. I don't know where they're going today though.
Okay, so he says that the aliens are at Wright Airfield. Okay, so why don't we audit Wright Airfield, check out all their buildings, and find the aliens, right? You can't find somebody that works there that has access to all areas and all buildings and prove or disprove that there's alien spacecraft there?
Because I've only worked on the legacy history of this part of it up until about the early 2010s. And ever since the end of the OSAL and the ATIP, I don't know where those operations are going these days. So I think that's about it.
Is that it?
If there was a question I would always ask, and I'll just say this really easy. Leslie Keene and Ralph Blumenthal asked me this for an interview I gave them in July of 2020 for the New York Times article that they published. They interviewed Lue and former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid. I think Harry was already retired then, wasn't he? Yeah. Okay, so I said basically my interface with the leadership of the industry, which were a number of individuals, is the following. The craft that have been recovered are not of the earth. They're not made by human hands. They are not from this planet. They are not human. They are an alien technology, whatever the word alien means.
Okay, so big claims that he made to the New York Times 5 years ago. And what is his, remember 5 years ago, there's a big New York Times article that Eric Davis claims to have briefed members of Congress about alien crash retrieved vehicles. And what is his evidence of this? It's trust me, bro.
Are they extraterrestrial? We don't know. We don't know. What motives do they have? Well, we need anthropologists and social psychologists and philosophers to figure that out, but they haven't communicated that to us.
Oh, one moment. We're almost through this. Take a moment to welcome everybody in the live chat. We're going through this clown show hearing. Yes, it is a clown show, friends. Like, do the people that really believe, the true believers, do you think it's helpful to have somebody go and tell members of Congress this stuff with no evidence whatsoever? Does that really help things? Luna is glowing over him. Yeah, she's a moron. Like, how many people are we going to go tell members of Congress the United States government has alien crash retrieved spaceships? Dave Grusch did it. This guy did it. Lue Elizondo's done it. Okay, but is that really moving the needle with no evidence to just make these bold claims with zero evidence or proof attached to them?
So physicists like me and Avi, we cannot answer questions like motive. We just need to take data. We call it measurements and signals intelligence in the intelligence industry. And Avi, I support 1000% because we need him to do what he needs to do. UAPX is another group from the University of Albany in Albany, New York. They're doing that as well. And there are other groups out there building up their own sensor suites to try to scan the sky full time, 24/7. To look for something that's high, and definitely not weather, definitely not an aircraft, definitely not a kid's blue flight cockpit.
We've had discussions at length in certain settings, in the formal official setting, where we talk about exotic material. I think it might be very helpful to the degree you can. Can you please explain what makes exotic material that has been recovered from the U.S. government exotic? What makes it different from atomically and chemically?
It's actually a very simple answer. It's the way it's fabricated. It's the way it's fabricated. That's what makes it exotic. It's not a new element that's never been.
And again, this man is a physicist, Eric Davis, an astrophysicist. He's not a material scientist. He's not qualified to look at a piece of material and make a determination that it couldn't have been manufactured on Earth. He's not an expert in material science. You need all the people that are saying exotic material or um, what was the buzzword that everybody was using for a while? Metamaterials. Well, we make metamaterials on Earth. Just because something is a metamaterial doesn't mean it was manufactured or made off planet or by aliens. But all the people that talk about these exotic materials are people that are not qualified. We've got Gary Nolan. He's an immunologist. He's not qualified to look at a piece of material and tell and make the jump, the leap to say this is alien technology. It could have been manufactured by humans. But here we are, over and over again, people who are not material scientists make these bold, trust me, bro, claims.
Discovered and placed on the periodic table of elements. No. The materials are in the periodic tables. They're either radioactive isotopes that we already know of, or they're any of the other non-radioactive, non-actinide elements on the table. It's just the combination of the materials is unusual.
Unusual is not proof of aliens.
It could be that you could say that that's exotic, but it's the composition, it's how you built the craft, the materials that form the craft and everything inside the craft. It's quite exotic because one of the company's leadership was a young material scientist when he graduated with his doctorate in material science from one of the universities in Illinois.
Now he's using an anonymous source that he won't name.
Back in 1970, and he was hired by Ben Bridge to work with him and a team at Skunk. That was the Advanced Projects Development Agency, I think is what Lockheed Aircraft, I think, called it back in those days. So, so basically, this is what he was telling me. He's an advanced material scientist, and he said, well, we could use the best diagnostic equipment we had back in those days, which was 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And we could see the elements through mass spectroscopy that compose these structures. But when we look at how they're composed and structured, it's like nothing we've been able to fabricate on Earth. We've never been able to reproduce it on Earth.
Yeah, so an unknown, unnamed material scientist gave me this information. Great, what's his name? Can we see the lab reports from this material? Can we see the results of the mass spectrometer and the scientific papers that they wrote that were peer-reviewed, confirming that these materials couldn't have been manufactured on Earth? Well, no, I can't tell you the guy's name. But trust me, he was a material scientist, and he said that we couldn't make these. It's one big circle jerk.
And we have no extrapolated engineering or physics technology to tell us or inform us on how we can possibly manufacture this on. So they understood that it's the combination of the elements was very unusual.
Again, unusual does not mean alien. There's a lot of weird combination of elements used in different manufacturing processes. In fact, one long-claimed piece of alien technology turned out to be a byproduct from a metal smelting company. When they make metal, bismuth, magnesium, and some other materials can combine. And that's what that thing was. It was just a manufacturing byproduct. And it was an unusual combination of elements that we don't usually see, but it wasn't alien technology.
It's counterintuitive, but it's the way the materials are fabricated. That's what makes it exotic.
Excellent. Thank you very much, sir.
Mr. Davis, but I wanted to ask before this panel's over, I want to pull some threads here. The what is your understanding of the physics or the likely propulsion technology? What is your assessment of what the capabilities are and how it's being achieved?
Well, now this he should be qualified because he claims that he worked on all these advanced physics propulsion, alternate propulsion systems.
And then also, what I want to ask about materials and energy as well.
We can only speculate.
So everything that he's going to say is speculation. Really helpful.
These things are so far in advance. We can only speculate. The best speculation I can come up with is General Tip. He does a great job predicting something like a warp bubble.
Oh, it's a warp bubble. That's how the aliens are getting here. Yeah, and this guy wrote papers on warp bubbles and wormholes and teleport. teleporting. And in his paper, which was called Crackpot Science by the Air Force, he has a picture of Einstein waving through a portal to an image of Barney the dinosaur.
Likely to exhibit the phenomenon of sublight or less than light speed or bubbles. However, that becomes a challenge when you talk about UAP that dive into the ocean and climb up out of the from under the ocean and up.
A lot of claims of UAPs diving into the ocean and coming back up from the ocean. Where's the evidence for that? More Trust Me Bro stories.
So
So it's not warping space-time.
It's a warp in space-time. Yeah, but that's described by Einstein general very well.
Yeah.
And so the problem is
It doesn't, gravity warps space-time,
that's right.
right?
Yeah.
So these objects are changing space-time around.
Yeah, they have a thin shell of energy, and the type of energy would have to be negative energy density, and it would be consistent with the type of energy density that you can create in quantum vacuum. And examples of that are Casimir cavity that has a little vacuum region that's bound by the two plates of the cavity. There's also squeeze states of light, where that's a laser beam, where you're going to take some part of canonical noise fluctuations from out of that part of the beam. You're not
His technobabble is better than Bob Lazar's. I'll give him that.
Elsewhere in the phase space, and this is getting really technical. So, so I'll just kind of keep it this way. You're going to take the quantum vacuum fluctuation that we know is quantum noise, or shot noise, and laser beams. You're going to pile it up somewhere else in an area you're not interested in measuring, and you only want to measure the amplitude of that beam. And at that point, when you take the quantum vacuum,
Oh, it's getting thick in here.
That energy density goes negative, and the energy density is the square of the amplitude. So that goes negative. And
yes, all of them are paid by Robert Bam Bam Bigelow.
The mass of the Earth creates space-time curvature.
If it was, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, so that space-time curvature, which we feel is the force of gravity on the surface of the Earth, drags down quantum vacuum fluctuations of the quantum fields that are out in space near the Earth, in the vicinity of the Earth. And
someone needs to warp his ass.
And so this is an example of
Dr. Sala approves, yes.
Of negative energy as well as laboratory sources of negative energy. So that's what you need to build a work.
The salad interview was the best, yes.
Construct a shell.
Just a brief comment of verification. We have two pillars, modern physics, quantum mechanics and Einstein's theory of gravity, which is curvature of space-time.
Right.
We don't have a reliable theory that combines
That's right.
quantum gravities. What we are hearing is speculation. We do not have the knowledge to figure out if you can create curvature of space-time out of negative energy density, because we have never mastered this technology. We don't have an understanding of that. So it's possible that, a millennium from now, we'll have those quantum gravity engineers. That's possible. Currently, we're just like too primitive technologically to figure it out. The question is there something in possession of government that the scientists should look into? And, I would love to help government figure it out, because it may guide us about the theory of quantum gravity if we have some.
Yeah, so we have good ideas about these things, and we can speculate on what the best approach to take to go work.
Yeah, and this speculation is about as good as Bob Lazar's speculation of how the alien spaceships work with element 115. It's just, this is their opinions, right? And
show negative energy that would create a terrestrial world, which would be a shortcut to space-time equal to distant points. But we have craft in our possession. There are no physicists literally working in those programs. So basically mechanical, aerodynamics, aerospace, thermal control engineers, electrical engineers, and material scientists. And material science is a part of engineering often. Usually kind of overlaps chemistry as well. And they've never had a physicist like him or I. They've never had an applied physicist or an experimental physicist. And so they are really lacking in the ability of
so somehow he knows exactly who's working on these alien spaceships, and there's no physicists, according to him.
Understand all these things for what there's.
Sir, the legacy program has been very insulated and insular, so unfortunately, it's a bit of a figured my approach here, a bit of an incestuous community. There's not a whole lot of outside involvement because it is so highly classified, and
that's why we can't find the aliens, because it's compartmentalized and classified. Sure.
some of the frustration and I think challenges, technologically speaking, because we haven't been able to recently apply new talent, new ideas, new theories to what may be what the U.S. government may be in possession of.
What about the energy potential?
The energy is a question of
How much
how much.
we're seeing, right?
Yeah, I haven't been able to access that.
Dr. Davis, can you talk for a moment, sorry, about the Nimitz incident, the calculations for the object to go from 80,000 feet within less than a second, 50 feet over the wire? What type of energy requirement are we talking about?
Hundreds of times the total electrical energy produced in the United States annually. That's the kind of energy that is represented.
I'd like to know where he's getting his math from.
Features and performances of UAP craft, especially in Tic Tac that the Nimitz in the air.
And again, these are claims. The object went from this to this. Where is the sensor data?
2004. And so it's hundreds and hundreds of times what the United States produces annually, like the electrical power. And so that compares really well with interstellar spacecraft that would travel relativistic or ultra relativistic.
Okay, so if it went from 80,000 feet to 50 feet, that would take more electrical energy than we produce in a year? Is that what he said? Okay.
Relativistic being anywhere from 90 to 99% speed of light. The energy just is astronomically huge. So these craft, I don't have the security clearances I need to know to get access to the technical details, but I'm made to understand that the craft are consistent in size with the Tic Tac, even double in size.
Okay, so he doesn't have the necessary clearance to get into any of the information. Then why are you here speculating and making these bold claims?
But the Tic Tac, that would be up to about 100 feet long by 50 feet diameter of that type. Boomerang-shaped craft, arrow-shaped craft, triangle-shaped craft, and so forth. The biggest ones that have been observed, especially that we investigated at units in 1999, involving Scott Air Force Base. That one was a 600-foot long craft.
Oh, they investigated a 600-foot long spaceship. Where's the sensor data? Where's the pictures? Where's the evidence? This is just another trust me, bro.
And it was about roughly 100 feet tall. And so they don't have possession of craft like that. I've never been told that. It's usually the more manned scale.
So they couldn't move.
Yeah.
So we might be able to.
Yeah, so we can only speculate. I know Jim Caskey wrote in his book.
Oh, one moment. It's just shocking to me, the claims being made and zero evidence. This is all third-hand stories, and this person told me, and trust me, bro, it is ridiculous so far. But this is what we get. We don't get evidence in the UFO world. We get stories. The same repeated stories over and over and over again.
I remember the title of it, but anyway, it was cooperative Colin Kelly, I worked with at NIDS, and George Knapp, KLAS TV in Las Vegas. And so Jim mentioned, and Jim was the program manager for the AAS, the ISAM, the AAS, WAP. And so basically he described in his book, somebody, I don't know if it was him because he never, I think he said it was him, went inside one of these craft that he had access to, and they couldn't recognize any propulsion or power devices or systems inside the craft. It was completely unusual. Travis Taylor and I have speculated that possibly they're teleporting energy from a remote distant location where the energy is produced and still teleported to the craft.
Oh, that's how the aliens do it. They teleport the energy from somewhere else. That sounds plausible.
And that's how the craft can move around without having to carry propellant or rocket engine or an advanced warp drive engine on it. That's one possibility that we speculate.
On the material, so what you have me thinking is carbon can take multiple forms, right? And are you saying that is the same with other material, other elements? The way in which what we found is different forms of these elements that we have.
It would be different elements, it'd be different combinations of the elements.
And isotopic ratios as well, correct?
Yeah. So you're.
Yes. And what these morons always fail to mention is that the elements are the elements throughout the universe. But elements that form in our star system have a certain isotopic ratio. Elements that form in other solar systems have a distinctly different isotopic ratio. So we would be able to prove 100% instantly if we had a piece of alien element or, that came off of a craft. We would know instantly this is from another star system. And to my knowledge, no one has ever produced any proof that we have any element from that was produced outside of our solar system anywhere on Earth. This stuff with the metamaterials, it's unusual. Well, it still shows the telltale signs that it originated in our star system, these elements. So what, the aliens are flying all the way here with their alien spaceship and then making a new spaceship out of our solar system's elements to what, fool us? It's so stupid.
You're going to have a variety of whatever structural part of this that came off of UAP, and I don't know because I didn't have this wavelength knowledge of SPI, I only had TSS and I. So at the SPI level, I was informed that there'd be combinations of elements from the periodic table, combinations of your isotopes. So you have a variety of elements as they naturally occur, or some isotopes of them mixed together in a certain way, and then they're structurally built in a very unusual way that even today we have no equivalent or analog to. So this is about as much as I was given information at an SCI level.
And do you have, or can you comment on whatever species have been?
What are the species of aliens, Eric Davis, you wackadoo who thinks demons followed him home from Skinwalker Ranch?
Piloting these craft. Are they large? Are they multiple species? Are they
Look at Abby Loeb is laughing about the alien question.
what is their size and how many are usually on a craft?
They're typically the multiple species people are familiar with, the Greys, the Nordics. People have talked about reptilians and insectoids. It's not that they're reptilian or insectoid, it's that they resemble to the recipient of reptile or humanoid, because they have this head and 4 limbs and torso.
So large, small?
Human size, human scale.
Oh, the aliens are all human scale. What a coincidence.
Well, the Greys I'm familiar with from investigating the crash at Corona, which is misnamed the crash at Roswell. It's not the crash at Roswell, it's the crash at Corona, Mexico. Those were Greys, those were both tall. And the Nordics are typically size, probably, I'm from 5'6" feet tall.
And this, my friends, is where David Wilcock gets the stunning claim that Congress has acknowledged the reptilians, the Greys, the Nordics, the insectoid aliens are all visiting Earth. No, this wackadoo crackpot said some shit. That's what happened. And just a complete and stunning total lack of evidence. He named anonymous sources who told him things. He made a lot of bold claims, no evidence whatsoever. So, to the true believers, I say, how is this helpful at all? How is this, are we moving the needle by letting people make these bold, trust me, bro, claims to members of Congress? I really think that the members of Congress need a wackadoo translator to show them. We'll go back to the graphic from Stephen Greenstreet that I showed earlier. These are the people that are testifying to members of Congress. Lue Elizondo claims he used his psychic powers to turn into an angel. This guy, Tim Gallaudet, he claims alien spirits live in a house and his psychic daughter talks to them. Eric Davis claims demons spoke to him inside his head and his house was haunted by ghosts. He also claimed that demons followed him home from Skinwalker Ranch. Tim Burchett, member of Congress, believes the Bible is evidence of UFOs and that the literal devil is trying to stop the UFO truth. Eric Burleson believes UFOs could be angels and messengers of God, and Annapolina Luna believes UFOs are from another dimension and that there's a Christian religious connection. The fact that the United States government is wasting their time on these wackadoos, I've constantly said, if we imagine if a bunch of people that believe that the government is hiding unicorns demanded that they hold congressional hearings on unicorns. Would we do it? No. Then why are we wasting time on these evidence-free storytellers? And of course, Lue Elizondo, the moron, holds up a completely and totally fake picture of an alien, right? Holds up a completely fake picture of an alien spaceship, flying saucer. Members of Congress should, after this hearing, say, we're not going to waste any more time for you to sit here and tell us stories. Come with evidence or don't come at all. It's very simple. You're just spinning your wheels, letting people tell the same old stories. Oh, yeah, the government definitely has alien crash retrieve vehicles. Great. Where are they at? Give us the locations. Give us the people who are in charge of the programs. Name them. Oh, we can't. I didn't get access to that. So basically then, Eric Davis, you're just repeating stories. Stories likely told to him by Hal Puthoff, who basically is a co-author of Lue Elizondo's book. Lue Elizondo's book should have been called Hal Puthoff Told Me. And again, evidence for somebody telling you something with no evidence doesn't make it true. But I love how David Wilcock is now claiming that Congress confirmed the alien crash retrieval programs, and Congress confirmed that Earth is being visited by 4 separate alien races: insectoids, reptilians, gray aliens, and Nordics. This is all UFO mythology, stories that are decades old, and there's no evidence for any of it. But we got plenty of stories, though. Muppet Pimpin says we should send Lou a bouquet of helium balloons to celebrate his amazing discovery. Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. And I didn't realize, but I did have something else to share here. And that is Lue Elizondo. Boy, he's crashing out. This is interesting. Okay. As you know, says Lou, I'm always happy to be my own worst critic. A photo that was provided to me by a friend in government a couple of years ago was presented to me 2 days ago at our engagement in Philadelphia. Looks like we could put this one to bed, as our friends on Twitter figured out and solved this one. Major bravo to you. Yeah, this is the chandelier. As folks at the show will attest, this is precisely why I showed the first few slides at the beginning with an example of fake UAP. We must continue to be vigilant. Oh, whatever. And of course, this person says, my question is, was this friend giving you disinformation or were they misinformed themselves? Either way, somebody is lying on this chain of command. Who is it? Lue Elizondo, great question. I'm in the process of trying to determine that myself. If it's a setup in an attempt to discredit me from the inside, then we may have bigger problems. Yeah, somebody gave him look, it's your responsibility to vet information you share. If somebody gives you a fake photo, you should figure out that it's fake before you show it to people, especially for money. Especially for money, right? Just another one of those things, friends. Just another one of those things. So Lue Elizondo is completely discredited as a joke. A complete and total joke. Is one of those things, you know? And the average Chris had some fun stuff too. You know, these so-called experts, right? And average Chris says, now you have people like Ronnie Vernay starting conspiracy theories about how Lue Elizondo was the victim of an intelligence religious debunker group extremely low IQ, and this is just an example of how easy manipulated people are. It's one of those things, man. And of course, Lue Elizondo gives an apology video. Let me share that one here. One moment. We'll end with his stupid apology.
It wasn't intended to mislead anybody. It's intended to drive home a point that there is a pilot out there, and many of them just like him, who have nowhere to report UAP information. And that was the whole point of that photograph.
No, you moron. You said it was a UAP. You were wrong. You're supposed to be an expert. You go on the news as a UFO expert, you moron.
And I actually took the time. The moment I received it, I made a judgment call right there. You know what? I think this is important enough to help drive the point home, whether it's a crop circle, a tennis shoe, or a real UAP. The point is that there are thousands of people out there that are in desperate need.
He's coping and seething. Look
at. I was trying to use that photograph to drive that point home.
No. Oh yeah, there's no downside to showing members of Congress a completely fake photo of a UFO.
Obviously, if that did not get communicated,
moron,
that's my issue, and I will absolutely own that, as I do every one of my mistakes. But let's not forget, guys, there's a lot of good stuff that was said in that meeting by a lot of people.
Yeah, trust me, bro, stories from wackadoos. A lot of good stuff in that meeting.
And that's really what I think you need to take home from this. We've got a long way to go in this conversation. And
yeah, you got a lot more money to grift off of the UFO community, because you and your friends, how much did you collect for TTSA? Millions of dollars? How much money did you get paid for that horrible History Channel television show where basically you lied to everybody saying that you ran a government program? At the time, people hadn't figured out yet that he lied about running a government UFO program. So he got a television show based on lies. To me, that's a form of fraud or theft by deception. He got that television show deal and the book deal because he said that he ran a Pentagon government UFO program. Turns out, no, he didn't. It was just a hobby.
Again, people have been working very, very hard to do this. None of us have been paid to do this. We're doing it out of our own time.
None of us have been paid to do this. This motherfucker got paid for a television show. This motherfucker got paid to be part of the TTSA techno scam. How much of the 1.5 million that you and your buddies scammed out of the UFO community were you paid to work for the To the Stars Academy? How much money did you make from the book deal? Let's back that up. None of us get paid for this.
We're working very, very hard to do this. None of us have been paid to do this. We're doing it out of our own.
None of us have been paid to do this. Weren't you just paid to do a speaking tour about UFOs? That's being paid, you asshole.
Time spending our own money traveling long distances, disrupting our families to do this. And so I just ask you to please just take a breath for a moment and give people a break sometimes.
Yeah, give them a break when they fucking embarrass the whole UFO community in front of Congress like a clown. You don't deserve a break. It's twice in 1 year that you were caught promoting completely fake images of alien spaceships, you moronic asshole.
Nothing is done maliciously to confuse you or try to derail disclosure. If anything, if there's one thing you should know about me, man, is I will do and just about anything for disclosure to happen.
I think he should start sucking cocks for disclosure. Don't you guys think he should start sucking some cocks for disclosure? He said he would do just about anything. This is what he should do. He should track down the people that are running the UAP alien crash retrieval program and just blow them all. Show us the aliens. He said he would do anything for disclosure. Start sucking, Lou.
So with that said, folks, I hope we can continue to move forward, not allow this to be a major distraction.
Oh, it's a distraction that you got caught like a clown pushing fake UFO photos again.
If it makes you feel better to blame me, then by all means do it.
Yes, you're the reason that this subject is a mockery to members of the public. You're the reason that people say, oh, UFOs, that shit's all fake. It's directly because of people like you who keep getting caught pushing fake UFO shit that people have that opinion, you dumbass.
But let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater, because a lot of folks gave a lot in that meeting for you to have.
Yeah, a lot of folks told a lot of stories. There was no evidence in the entire hearing. None. You showed no evidence. Oh, wait, you did show evidence. Fake evidence. The only evidence during that entire hearing was Lue holding up this new UFO photo, and that evidence was completely and totally 100% fake evidence. Great.
Access to information that they didn't need to do. They didn't have to do it. I certainly didn't have to do it, nor did anybody else. So with that said, I just hope that, you know, if you want to get mad at anybody, makes you feel better, get mad at me. But
every UFO fan has a right to be mad at you, because now Congress has an excuse to not waste any more time talking to wackadoos about alien spaceships, talking to wackadoos who make bold claims like the government definitely has the alien spaceships, but have no evidence to support their wacky cult-like belief system.
A lot happened, and I thought it was a rather very, very important forum. And I hope you would agree that
you completely ruined any possibility of that hearing doing anything good for the world of UFOs, you moron.
Forums like that in the future need to happen for greater transparency. Now, it's also, you know, very, very possible we could have turned around and just recorded everything and not live streamed it and go ahead and edit it later, and you would never know. But part of transparency...
Well, you would have had to actually do some work on that photograph, find out it was fake, and then edit you showing that photograph out. And you're so lazy that you didn't vet the photo before sharing it as evidence of alien visitation on Earth, you fucking moron.
Is being truthful and honest with everybody and letting people see for everything.
Yeah, we have to be truthful and honest with everybody. Kind of like when I lied and I said that I talked to the pilot who took pictures of that alien mothership I showed people for money at my paid speaking engagements. Were you being truthful and transparent and honest when you were lying through your teeth about this photo that you said was taken by a pilot when it clearly was not taken by a pilot, you moron?
As it is. So I made a call to go ahead and show that photograph because I thought it was important enough that it would help drive home the point that we need a reporting mechanism for our civilian pilots. If I fail to achieve that, I sincerely...
You did fail to achieve that, because now people are going to, why should we put money into this? That's not a UFO, you dumbass, right? All right, so there's Lue Elizondo caught promoting another fake UFO photo. Vanilla Thunder is here and says, hey, Steven, keep up the great work. Can't wait to watch this stream in full later. I've been enjoying all your recent videos. Well, thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support, and one for the goal. We read every single super chat just so everybody is aware, and we thank everybody. So thank you, Vanilla Thunder. I think that's your first super chat. Congratulations, you popped your cherry. Now, don't be a stranger. You got to throw super chats in every show now. Alchemist 372 says, suffer, Lue. Yes, Lue got felted. He felt it himself, right? I'm an intel guy. Yes, we're going to play the show out with that. We will play the show out with that. So there you go. Lue Elizondo, clown. I'm going to send that dude some clown shoes and clown makeup. I think he needs it, right? Yes. So listen, we've done our due diligence. I just wonder, like, what about the people that literally committed crimes to defend this guy? Like, what are they thinking now? Like, oh, our hero fucked up the whole hearing showing people fake shit. You know, at some point, you just have to laugh at these clowns, and that's what we've done tonight. So I think that's all I got for you, friends. I'll take a moment for some comments and questions from the live chat. Put them in all capital letters. Salty Pug says, ha, his damage control video. Yes. Tales of the Sonic Voyage says, no, I just got here. Well, we didn't hit our overtime goal, but don't worry. You only need to send like 38 super chats, and then I would do some overtime, right? Oh, somebody's arguing with me in the comments about something I said on a previous show, saying meditating doesn't make you emotionally aware. You either are or you're not. What if you woke up one day to find out he's killed himself? I've known paranoid schizophrenics. Oh, come on, man. And I disagree. I think you are either emotionally, every emotional awareness is a scale. It's not an absolute. And I believe that meditating increases your emotional awareness. When I am consistently meditating for that 15 or 20 minutes a day, I am in much greater control of my emotions. When I don't do that, my emotions can get the best of me. My father had a terrible temper. I try to not be that way with my children. My dad would yell and scream at the drop of anything, like, I don't know. Double down, Lou. Kick the can down the road, Lou, says Richard Warner. Yes, funny to watch Lou use CIA tactics on the UFO community. Complizzard says, true seekers for life. Yes. Lue Elizondo, how about no lawyers and you have a problem, do the work yourself, not a lawyer. You do not need to be a lawyer to go to court. Arlene Atkins is sharing the Truth Seekers Clips channel. Thank you for that. Please do go there and subscribe. I'll be loading more clips soon. Yeah, so we've done our due diligence. I'm going to bounce on out of here, and hopefully this video will play. Last time I had some trouble with it, but this is my favorite Lue Elizondo video. What if I called your mother a hooker? I'm an intel guy after all. So we're going to call this one a short one. Short for us anyway. We normally go much longer, but I have some other things to do tonight. I decided to stop avoiding Mondays. For those unaware, our schedule used to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday every week. But we're here tonight on Monday. Consider this a bonus show. And I'll be back for our usual schedule tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you'll be with us. So that's all I got for you, friends. Until next time, my name is Stephen Cambia. Good night, and God bless all of you. If I call your mother